Well, some political experts are calling it a big reality check for Democrats after a Republican hat trick in traditionally blue-leaning Virginia. Republicans won the governor's race, the lieutenant governor's seat, and the attorney general's seat.
The AP just now is saying that New Jersey incumbent Governor Democrat Phil Murphy will hold on to his seat by a razor-thin margin. With President Biden's approval ratings on the decline, this could be bad news for Democrats in the midterm elections 1 year away.
Here's a political analyst, Fink, joins us with more on this. Laura, glad you're here. Do want to jump right in here. What message do voters appear to be sending to Democrats in all of this?
Well, it depends on which voters you ask, but I would say this. Republicans are saying we have energy and we don't need Trump at the top of the ticket. Just show up. We'll show up for a guy in a fleece vest that doesn't ever say Trump's name. On the Democratic side, they're kind of saying we're tired. We're tired and we want to win. We want to talk about something. We want to fill that vacuum without just talking about Trump.
President Biden's legislative agenda is stuck. It hasn't moved forward. There's a lot of infighting among Democrats. Is the perception out there now that he just can't lead? He has the razor-thin majority, but nothing's moving right now.
You know, it's interesting. I think a win certainly could have helped him and helped McAuliffe, but it looks like with double-digit losses in a lot of different groups, it would have been a tough one, even with that legislative package passing. What I think it tells us is this. President Biden got hired to get stuff done. Right now, voters in general are just sort of tired of the pandemic, and they need to see some action while we kind of are waiting and the clock is continuing with this pandemic and sort of different economy. Voters want back to normal.
Well, when we talk about the Virginia governor's race specifically, and we look at some of the issues that were mentioned, it appeared that Youngkin sort of went after many of those bread and butter issues that really appeared to a wide range of voters, where there was a lot of criticism on McAuliffe for continuing to tie his opponent to President Trump. Is it going to be a different strategy, in your opinion, in the midterm election for Democrats to stop making that tie? Is that working anymore?
I think it only worked because he couldn't successfully tie Youngkin to Trump, and there was a void in other things to talk about. So I don't think it's a problem. We saw it work for Gavin Newsom here in California during the recall. Tying particular candidates to Trump works, but you also have to back it up with additional policy. You have to back it up with what else you're going to do. And that void allowed Glenn Youngkin really to appeal to largely white suburban voters. We saw them moving over, and by appealing to white identity politics, things like critical race theory were centerpieces of this conversation, and those really did move voters into his camp.
Youngkin was able to really negotiate a high-wire act. He was endorsed by former President Trump, but he didn't necessarily embrace him. He's given a template to a lot of Republicans going into the midterms. Putting on your strategist hat, what do Democrats need to do going into that cycle to counter that?
Well, I think they have to both parties need to have candidates that energize the base. We see that Democrats had a harder time with that. Right now, Republicans are showing up simply because, you know what, they lost the last election and they're energized. Democrats, on the other hand, are kind of tired. They're tired of sort of fighting it out. And so Democrats really need to step up and find a way to energize their voters. Republicans are seeing that their voters are energized, and so they just need to pick the right candidate that can tap dance the way Glenn Youngkin did. And make no mistake, it looks like Trump should probably stay at home.
And let's also talk about the midterm elections. I know it's a year away. A lot can happen in a week these days, let alone a full year away from now. But do you anticipate a bruising midterm election season for the Democrats?
No doubt, Heather. It will be a bruising election season. It will be razor close, no matter how you cut it. I think right now, you look at the national numbers, President Biden is suffering because people's perceptions of the economy are suffering. He needs to turn that around. His coattails are very necessary with that razor-thin margin in the House and the Senate for Democrats. They really are going to have to improve the national conversation, and that could happen both with things that are in their control and out of control. But Republicans are wise to see an opportunity here. Right now, the wind is at their back.
Yeah, big day, big wins for the Republican Party across the nation. Laura Fink, our political analyst, thank you for your time. 1 year away, I guess we'll be seeing you more and more as we move forward.
I hope so. Good to see you both.
Laura, thanks.